The year is 2020. Everyone's getting vaccinated. Everybody's wearing masks. The world was on fire. There was so much happening in the world at the time that little old me, who had just graduated from high school, was worried about getting a job. I'm gonna keep it real. I didn't really need a job. I just really wanted money so I can spend it on Dokkan, so I can get some Dragon Stones, so I can get my new Gogeta, maybe an LR Kid Buu if that ever drops. I had a friend who recommended me this job at a pizza place, and I thought, man, this is the place to get money. And I get to work with friends. This is amazing. And it turns out, in fact, it was not amazing at all. Golly, did I want money. I went to the job, I went to the man, I shook his hand, and I got the interview. Interview process was pretty simple. He was just like, you want job? I did want job. We pay $8.20. $8.20, that's $1 above minimum wage. I'm sold. And if you're sitting there thinking $8.20, wow, you were getting paid pennies. You were absolutely right. It was pretty bad. Though you gotta realize in the area that I lived in 5 years back, the minimum wage was $7.25. And in my tiny little brain, I thought, $1 above minimum wage. I really have made it, huh? It's silly to think back on it, but it was my first job, and I was just happy to make money with my friends. And before my first day, I thought it would be the easiest job of my life. And oh boy, was I wrong. Oh my gosh, this job was hard. I worked as a customer service representative. And if you're asking what that means, well, you're just like me on my first day because I really didn't even know what it meant either. Essentially what it means is that everything that goes on inside of the chain fast food pizza place that I worked at is your responsibility. And let me check right here. I had a list of what I was supposed to do. So if you're working at the front, you have to take phone orders and in-person orders. Pretty simple. Oh, and what's that behind you? It's a label machine. Beep, 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 beep. The man working on oven needs you to put labels on the boxes that are in front of you and put them on the shelf so he can box the pizzas. So, okay, you just got a little bit more than just taking orders on your plate. Is it really that tough? And if you have people working and helping you out, it's not as tough as it seems. But if you are unlucky like me and you have to do it by yourself, it gets pretty tough. I'm not a big fan of the micromanaged types of video games that are out there nowadays, but I think that maybe because of the trauma that I've had working at this pizza place, like it was the most micromanaging job in the world. You mess up one time, someone's gonna yell at you. And they were not nice to you here. They were pretty mean. Like, I'm sorry, I bet those micromanaging video games are really fun. I would like to play Mini Motorways, but I'm afraid if I mess up, somebody's gonna come over to my screen and start screaming about how it's my fault and how I screwed over the company. Another one of those mini games that got ruined for me was Papa's Pizzeria, or even the Club Penguin Pizza making video game. That's a lot of P's. As a kid, these games seemed absolutely redonkulous, right? They seemed too tough for no reason. And I would just sit there and just be upset that I lost, and I would say, oh man, this is not how a pizza place would operate. They would have some regulations or something. But actually, believe this or not, wait for this. But actually, this is almost exactly how a pizza place operates in real life. Now I'm specifically talking about working on the oven. The oven is what turns boys into men, girls into women, dogs into cats, pigeons into government drones. And I was absolutely terrified of my first day working on the oven. The oven, the horrors that I've heard from behind me as I worked and took orders. The absolute terror that instilled in my body that I had to work oven. Oh, it was terrifying. I mean, honestly, it was a scary journey. And nonetheless, I ventured forth. I couldn't let my crew down. They trusted me enough to put me on oven on the busiest day of the week for my first time. Ooh, they must have thought I had guts. And those guts had already left the station. As you can guess, with my bravery, with my courage, with my strength, that the first day I worked on the oven, the Friday, the busiest day of the week, that I did terribly. Oh my god, that was horrible. It was a terrible day. Luckily, I didn't have any of my food drop on the floor. But that's because I had to get assistance from a manager. And if you're sitting there thinking, what? Pizza dropping on the floor? That's redonkulous. Does that actually just happen? Yeah, if you're not fast enough, the pizza's just gonna drop on the floor, the wings are gonna drop on the floor, the sandwich is gonna drop on the floor. You gotta be quick. You can't be a slowpoke on the oven. You can't be a turtle. You gotta be a rabbit. For the first day, a turtle I was, and the rabbit, the assistant manager, came over and sped run the thing for me. He helped me out. He helped me out when I asked questions. I asked a bit too many questions, and then he asked a question to me, kind of a jab question. He was just like, "Is this your first day on the oven?" To which I responded with, "It is in fact my first day on the oven, sir." And he gave me one of those wiggity 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 what? He was a little dumbfounded that I was having my first experience with the oven on a Friday, the busiest day of the week. And he told me, "You know, for the first time on the oven, you didn't do horrible." And you know what I said? I said thank you, because throughout the whole time I worked there, that was kind of like the nicest thing somebody has said to me that wasn't my friend. And that being the nicest thing somebody has said to me is a little sad because, I worked there for 2 years, and that's genuinely the nicest thing I can remember while working there. Anything else was just added on stress. And if it sounds like the tone of this video is getting a little somber, I just want to say something real quick before we get back to the goofs and the gags. I had a distaste for some of the folks that worked there because as it was a stress-induced job, I feel as if they took a lot of it out on me. But I'm not going to sit here and blame these people and have some form of spite for them. I just want to say that this job and how it was structured does not breed happy people. One mistake means that everyone suffers, and it doesn't matter who makes a mistake. It already adds on to the stress that is weighed on the shoulders of the workers who are getting barely paid. So if you're just sitting outside wondering why it's taking so long to get your pizza, and you're thinking, "Man, I really should just yell at these people because they're doing a horrible job," maybe take a couple of seconds and just reflect that maybe they're having a really bad time as well. Well, enough about that. Let's get to some silly stories. At the time of 2020, we weren't allowed to let customers inside of the store. So, unfortunately, you had to wait outside to get your pizza brought to you. And some customers did not like that idea at all. One customer, in fact, brought it upon himself to let us know how much distaste that he had for the system. A man with moccasins and blue jeans steps forth, the cool air rushing in. As I said, it was winter at the time. He steps forth silently at first. "Looking at me," says my manager. I don't know," says one of my coworkers. "Oh, golly," says me. I hadn't gone through second puberty yet, so that's how I sounded. Of course, it was an elderly man, and of course, he wasn't wearing a mask. He got there and he announced, "Where is my pizza?" My manager, confused and honestly astounded by his bravery, goes, "What are you talking about? You have to wait outside for your pizza." Oh, the elderly man did not like that.
"No, I want to wait in here for my pizza."
This left the manager on the floor, shaking. "No, stop it! You have to wait outside!" The elderly customer towers over my manager and announces, "No, I am the boss now," and takes his hat off my manager and becomes the boss. And I was just like, wow, I didn't really know how this happened, how you had to work up the ranks, but I guess this is technically how you work up the ranks. And he made us do a lot of work. We didn't really even make pizzas. He changed the place into like a sub place, and he called it Subway. Do you guys get it? As epic as that sound, that's not actually how it happened. The guy just came in. He was just announcing that he wants to wait for his pizza inside of the store, and that he gets special privilege. And funny enough, he did not get special privilege. He got kicked out pretty quickly. I just thought it was hilarious that this man was announcing for his pizza now. He wasn't like the most ridiculous customer that I ever had. I've worked at this place for like 2 years at the time, and I realized that customers are not just ridiculous in retail setting, but they're more ridiculous when they're hungry. And when they're hungry, they get mad. And this is gonna be let's make this segment annoying customer segment. So people having to wait outside made a lot of people aggravated, right? And it didn't make an orderly line. We would need an orderly line at the door so we can just give the customers what they ordered, like in sequential order. Why did I say order so many times? And this one guy thought I was skipping him on purpose, and he made it known that I was wrong. There was a big crowd and I was already stressed, and the guy comes up to me and says, "Hey, get my order now." And I say, "Okay, wait, we have to go in order here." And then he points at me, "No." He puts his finger to my chest. He goes, "No, you get my order now." You know, I try to explain to him that there's people in front of him that I had to get other orders out first, but he insists that I need to get his order now, and I wasn't doing a good enough job. And you know what? That just made me really upset, so I just said, screw it. We'll just get his order so we can just leave and I can stop hearing him. So I got his order. I brought it out to him. He didn't say thanks. He immediately left. and I was just like, good riddance. And that's all I'm going to speak on in this pizza place. I have a mountain of stories that I could share. Some of them are just like maybe too much to share, especially on YouTube. I don't know, man. I think it's just too much. But if you really enjoyed this video, let me know. Leave a comment below, leave a like, and hit the subscribe button. Maybe hit the notification bell, and maybe hit like something else. Maybe there's some other button that you could hit that would promote the video. Maybe if you click share, maybe click the 3 dots, maybe click cast to TV. Cast this to your TV so your friends and family can see this video. Thank you. Good night.